Welcome back, everybody. Take a break with Stephen Shamus.
Good to see you, my friend. How's it going today?
Always a pleasure. It's a great day. It's extremely hot in New York, so I'm air conditioned and trapped in my room.
Okay, so most important question. How long did it take you to finish Sweet Tooth?
I have not finished Sweet Tooth. I've been extremely busy, and then Loki came out today. I don't know what I don't know. It's
okay.
It's like so there was no TV for me to watch, and now there's all the TV. I'm still got to finish MODOK. It's crazy.
Loki really sucks you in.
Yeah.
Sucks you right in.
I'm excited.
Tom oozes off the screen as usual. Sweet Tooth. I got to tell you something, Alex. It's one of the best shows I've seen in years.
That is one of my go-to comics to recommend people. I mean, I read it since I have all the singles. I've read it since day one, and it's one of my favorites.
Larry Hama posted on Facebook, I didn't expect to enjoy the series, but I binged it in like one sitting or something to that effect. I'm paraphrasing. Yeah. That's exactly how I felt. I was like, all right, I'll watch Sweet Tooth. Like, all right, it's about, dear kid, let's see how it goes. Yeah. And it's one of the few series that I've ever seen, and I'm talking about ever, where it gets better every episode. Every episode is better than the episode before.
Can't wait.
It really takes you on a journey. I got to tell you, they did an amazing job. I can't wait for season 2. Oh my God. It's like
they've got multiple seasons. They have the Sweet Tooth Return, which is a brand new series that literally just ended. And like, I don't know. There's so much to it. Good for Jeff Lemire. Right. More Jeff Lemire projects. That's
oh my God. So good. So good. Okay. What are we talking about today, Alex?
So we're going to talk about Sweet Tooth, obviously. Okay. Let's talk a little Uncharted. A Tom Holland vehicle, if you will. We'll talk a little bit about some children of the MCU, Sin, and then we'll wrap it around with We Live.
Right. Again, another mixed bag of stuff. We always seem to have a mixed bag here. Again, we're seeing prices escalating like crazy. It's almost like you turn around, you get whiplash. It's like, oh, this is going crazy. This is going crazy. Hey, this is going crazy. Hey, wait, this is going crazy. I've never seen so many hot books at one time all picking up the steam together. It normally used to be like, oh, this character's hot, this film, this storyline, this artist, this illustrator. And it's just like, you can't even keep track of all the stuff anymore. So, all right, Alex, so what are we starting off with today?
Let's talk about Sin, Red Skull's daughter.
Yeah, so again, this is a character that originated in 1984, Alex. It's funny, they go back and they jump forward and it's like they're time traveling, almost like Loki. So talk to me a little bit about this character and why all of a sudden we've seen these drastic price increases.
I think any first appearance from a Marvel character, I think you're good to go ahead and buy that if it's a pretty decent one and they use the character. I mean, this is Red Skull's daughter. She is Red Skull's daughter. Red Skull in the MCU is dead. We need some villains. We don't have any villains right now. Why not? I mean, we still have Captain America. We still have the Winter Soldier. We're still in that mode. So what would we use? They've used U.S. Agent. They've used Crossbones. They have Sharon Carter back. Like, why not Sin? Red Skull daughter. It's perfect setup.
Right. So Captain America number 290, February of 1984. And again, because this book popped out of nowhere, 22 blue label 9/8, 1 gold label 9/8. It's about a $400 book right now. It's about $45 to $55 raw. There's also a Canadian price variant, so that's something to keep track of. It's got the first appearance of Mother Superior, who's Cynthia Schmidt, but Cynthia is Synthia, who later becomes Sin, Sin. And it's a J.M. DeMatteis story. And it's a John Byrne cover. It's a pretty cool cover too. It's a pretty nice cover.
Yeah.
Then Captain America number 16, aka Captain America number 565.
Right.
May of 2006. 13 blue label, 2 gold label 9.8s. That's a $600 book now, Alex. $50 to $75 raw. That's really the first modern Sin appearance.
Yeah.
Not as the other character that later becomes Sin. It's sort of like Cletus Cassidy later becoming Carnage,
Right.
right? Sort of like the Spider-Man 344 versus Spidey 361. And again, it's got a Steve Epting cover, Mike Perkins art. I love Perkins' art. I have a few of his covers myself. So there's that book that's in, and that's the one that really shot up.
Yeah.
And then Captain America number 612, January of 2011, as Red Skull, 3 blue label, 1 gold label 9/8. So there's very low pop there. It's about an $8 to $10 book raw. Talk a little bit about As Red Skull and what that means.
I mean, like I said, Red Skull, as we know, it's dead. So what's next? I mean, this is the perfect like addition book, right? You have a character who is Red Skull's daughter who becomes Red Skull, a villain in the modern age. You have a story by Ed Brubaker, who I think pretty much all of the Cap stuff that we've seen in the movies is an Ed Brubaker run. And you have modern storytelling. I mean, this is the way to go. I mean, if you're going to have a new Captain American villain, why not her as the Red Skull?
Right. And then the Tron 1 in 15 variant edition of 612, 18 blue label 9.8s, 12 gold label 9.8s. You can't find those books. Those are $100 raw. Jeez. If those are $100 raw, they're probably $800 to $1,000 in 9.8.
Definitely.
So that's a very, very hot book. All right, Alex, what do we got next?
Video game to comic to movie franchise, Uncharted.
Right, starring Spider-Man himself.
That's right.
Tom Holland. So again, this is a book that has absolutely exploded in value, exploded. You can't even find raw copies of this book. Yeah. I do not remember this book being ordered that much. The video game stuff wasn't being ordered back then. That's, by the way, that's what you show what happened with the Fortnite variants as well.
100%.
They just don't order the video game stuff, but that stuff is on fire now. A lot of the stuff is becoming video games. A lot of the stuff is becoming films, which you've seen, Dragonlance and some of these other ones. So it's all starting to take off. So it's based on the video game by Naughty Dog. The first issue has an Adam Hughes cover, but it's hard to believe it's 9 years already. Yeah, Alex. So Uncharted number 1, January of 2012, 3 blue label and 0 gold label 9/8. It's $85 to $100 raw. So I think if you pulled a blue label 9/8, I think you're looking at 800, 600, 7. I think you kind of name your price. A 9-year-old book. I don't think there was a high print run, and I don't think people really kept these. By the way, not a book that people kept around.
Video game fans, and they're not slabbing them and throwing them in Mylars.
Right. Adam Hughes 1 in 10 variant cover. $100 to $150 raw. It's a 00 pop.
Wow.
Uncharted number 2, February of 2012, 00 pop, $20 to $30 raw. Uncharted 3, March of 2012, 00s, $40 raw. That one's a particularly hard issue to find raw because as you get the sales keep going down.
Yep.
Number 4, 1 blue 9/8, 0 gold label 9/8. Impossible to find. I can't even find raw copies. Uncharted 5, May of 2012, 00, can't find any raw copies. Uncharted 6, June of 2012, 00s, $50 raw. Very, very hard to find. There's only 1 or 2 copies that crop up. What's so great about this video game, Alex, that you think it makes a good movie?
It's a huge video game franchise. The best way to describe it, I would say, is like a more modern Indiana Jones. It is a treasure hunter. He is the main character. Drake is a descendant of Sir Francis Drake. This is a side story that isn't pulled from any of the video games or anything. So it's a brand new story with those characters. And again, this was a PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4 launching title. This was a huge game when it came out. And just like you said, Batman Fortnite. And someday we'll talk about the Supernatural comics. I mean, this is stuff that is published by DC Comics for a market that doesn't know it exists until it hits the stands. And comic shops do not order for stand pickers. They order for their subs and a few pieces for their wall, but nobody orders assuming that a contingent of customers are going to come in that never had before. And this is what happens with stuff like this. That's why they're so hard to find.
Yeah. So I got to tell you something. The dollar boxes at these Comic Cons are going to explode because it's too much. Like it's actually too much. Like even when I go to my mom's shop, my brother's shop, Toy Wiz, I go in there. They got hundreds of boxes of comic books.
Yeah.
And I'll go in there and I'll get through 20 or 30 boxes and I'm done for the day.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you make it through all the boxes?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
You
when
know?
a buddy of mine, when sometimes he just gets people that drop off the collections. They're like, I don't want to sell these for $40. I'd rather you just take them from me. And I'll go through them and I'm like, oh, there's the first Cosmic Ghost Rider. Here's this book. And it's just random stuff.
If you go on Facebook and you go on these estate sales,
Yeah.
what's funny to me, and we've discussed this a lot, is those Spider-Man titles from the 90s, those Marvel titles from the 90s, they printed a lot of copies of those books. A lot of them are worth a lot of money now. And people are going to estate sales and they're pulling out these collections of like, you know, I saw one guy the other day on Facebook posted like 6 copies of Spider-Man 361. Wow. And those are like $800 a book now.
Yeah.
And they printed a lot of copies of that book. They probably printed close to 1 million copies of that book.
Definitely.
You know, I mean, it may not, I mean, the McFarlane run was definitely over 1 million. I don't know if it was over 1 million by the time Eric and Bagley were doing Spider-Man, but it was still pretty close. Yeah,
still high. So
I mean, it was
higher than our print runs now by a long shot.
By 8 to 10 times now. Yeah. By 8 to 10 times, you know, Amazing Spider-Man probably sells 80 to 100,000 copies now.
Yeah.
60,000. I mean, you're talking about 800, 900 million. I mean, a lot of copies.
Yeah. 100,000 in the 90s would have gotten canceled.
I know, it's funny, right? It's true. All right, Alex. Alex's pick of the week. What do you got for us?
We'll talk about Aftershock Comics in the not too near future, but I want to talk about Aftershock Comics and kind of what they're doing. A lot of books are coming out. It's some of the stuff's really quality. I mean, with any independent publisher, there's stuff that you're probably not going to like or it's not for you. But one of the things they're doing, and I really like these, are not only are they doing incentive covers and store exclusive covers, but they're doing something called the Ambassador editions. These are brand new covers for books like Baby Teeth, Undone by Blood. And to get the books, you have to be an employee at a store, and you have to get verified from Aftershock to be an ambassador. You are an ambassador to the company Aftershock. Someone comes in and goes, hey, what's a good book to read? Give me something new. You would be that person to be like, oh, have you tried Baby Teeth? Have you tried We Live? Have you tried? And they send you specific covers that you can give away. You can sell to your Aftershock people. You can essentially do whatever you want, but not every store gets them. You have to have an Aftershock ambassador at that store. These covers do not sell for that much now, but that's going to change very soon. Undone by Blood, that's a big popular title. If that gets picked up, gone. Baby Teeth by Donny Cates. I mean, God Country just got picked up. I'm pretty sure Baby Teeth is going to get picked up for something soon. Those books are going to go for a lot of money. So, I mean, I think looking into this Aftershock ambassador program is a smart idea, especially if you have a store that's part of it.
Interesting. I remember a few years ago, you showed me some of those Valiant like metal books. They were like made of metal and stuff.
Yeah.
How did you get how would somebody get one of those?
You would have to order, I think for Exo Manowars, 500 to 1. You have to order 500 copies of Exo Manowar number 1 to get 1 copy for your store. I think the last one they did was Bloodshot, and that was 250 to 1. So you have to order 250 comics to get 1 copy of it. And I mean, let me tell you, Midtown probably orders the most books. They might have gotten 2, maybe tops.
Wow.
Like nobody orders that much book. So these are extremely rare books, and the Aftershock books are gonna get that way. I think they are.
Yeah, we should pick up the metal books one time.
I think so. Maybe that. I know some people.
Yeah. And by the way, fun fact about Aftershock is Mike Martz's first job in comics was working at Wizard Magazine.
Interesting. And you started a lot of people's careers.
my cube or office or whatever was adjacent to him. So we've actually known Mike for probably close to 30 years now.
Good stuff. It's good stuff.
Crazy, right? It's crazy to think about that. All right, that's cool. That's cool. I didn't realize all the Aftershocks. I like that. I got to go check those. I got to go check those Aftershocks.
They're hard to find.
Okay. We may add that to. I'm going to write that down, Alice. We may add that to a future episode.
There we go.
Aftershock Ambassador. By the way, that's a very clever.
Yeah, totally.
idea.
It's not just incentive variant or whatever. It's a specifically named stamped book.
Clever. All right, what do we got next, Alex?
Your favorite at the moment. You won't stop texting me. Sweet Tooth. Let's talk Sweet Tooth.
So I wasn't that familiar with it. I have to be honest. Before the TV series.
Yeah. There's a lot of content.
But the show was so good. It had all the elements. It was like Huck Finn.
Yeah.
Brother versus brother, sister versus sister. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. The fish out of water. The the guy who has hope, who's not a lost soul, who redeems his soul from being lost.
MacGruber,
right?
wasn't it?
Yeah. So it had so many elements to it. And the hardest thing I find when you look at a movie like a Black Panther, which I think had a lot of those elements, Wonder Woman, the first film, had a lot of those elements, and Sweet Tooth, is you've got all these elements and they seamlessly weave them together to tell a story. Very, very difficult to do. Yeah. But when you pull it off, you get Wonder Woman, you get Black Panther, you get Sweet Tooth. So they pulled it off big time. And what a great series. So I'll let you talk a little bit about the comic book series and Jeff Lemire. By the way, on a funny note, Jeff Lemire had a great post on his Instagram. He posted a rejection letter,
rejection
from
letter
2017 that said, no one is going to buy a book about a deer boy, and definitely no one's going to make a show about it.
Right.
And then you slide Netflix #1 show.
Yeah.
Sweet dude.
Always bet on Jeff.
So talk about the comic book. Does it differ in any way from the TV series? Or talk about a little bit about the comic book.
I mean, there's always going to be some differences from the TV show and the comic. The comic was written and drawn by Jeff Lemire. Like, he did everything, all 40 some odd issues. It's about a post-apocalyptic world where there's a disease that are making kids that are born are half human, half animal hybrids. And you really don't know why or how that's happening. And then, as the story progresses, you kind of get more deep history of Sweet Tooth's dad, and did he have a hand in it? And Jeopard, the man who essentially helping him in this post-apocalyptic world. But it's just a solid, like you said, it's just a solid story. It's got everything all around. And my favorite part about what we're going to be talking about is the prices is this first issue was $1 issue. Every single one was $1. These were very easy to get your local comic book store. They ordered a bunch of them. Most of the places gave them out for free. And now if you kept yours in nice shape like me, you're in for a good story.
Okay, so I hope you're sitting down. So Sweet Tooth #1, February of 2009, 74 Blue Label 9.8s, 19 Gold Label 9.8s. There's actually, talk a little bit about 9.6s in a second. Those are 850.
Ooh.
But they're skyrocketing. Like they may not be 850 by the time you see this.
Right.
They're tough to get. Not a huge pop. 74 is not a big pop.
No.
And then 9.6s, there's 49 Blue Label, 13 Gold Label 9.6s. Even the 9.6s are $375.
Wow.
And I will tell you, it's not easy for a book to be $375 in 9.6. There's a lot of books that we've spoken about that are like big books that are not $375 in 9.6. I think that's a testament to the pop size and the desirability for these books. So that's the first issue. Then, which you talked a little bit about Sweet Tooth: The Return, which maybe that's the second season. I don't want to do any spoilers here, but there's still story left to tell on the first season.
Yes. And this series, The Return, kind of like the smart thing about it is you literally don't have to read the first series. It's completely different. It's a book set in the future. There is a deer-headed boy in it that looks a lot like us, but it's not. And they explain, it's quick 6 issues, and it's a different tale in the same universe. And that's like essentially what he's doing with his Black Hammer stuff as well. It's like, okay, here's your main characters. Okay, now we're going to continue on with the story, and we don't have to keep using the same main characters. So also just ended. The comic book stores still have these in their stock.
Yeah, the kid who played Gus is terrific.
Oh,
he's good. All right, Sweet Tooth: The Return, October 2020, 16 Blue Label 9.8s, 0 Gold Label 9.8s. That's about $100 plus, and that book keeps going up.
Yeah.
There's a Jim Lee variant cover, but it was an open order variant.
Yeah.
8 Blue Label 9.8s, 0 Gold Label 9.8s. That one's a $400 book, Alex.
Ooh, I don't have that one. That's for sure.
$400 book. Well, go get one. Go get one.
Yeah, right.
All right. What are we finishing up with today, Alex?
Yeah, we're gonna go right into our first Aftershock book, We Live.
Yes, you willed it into existence today.
I did.
So talk to us a little bit about We Live, and of all the Aftershock books, why is this particular title taking off?
I think you'll see a lot more of these Aftershock books take off. Shadow Doctor's one, Undone by Blood's one, Baby Teeth is also obviously one of the larger ones. This one was cool because it's written by a couple people that are new to the comic book world. The art was very clean. Again, a newer person in the comic book world. It's a story about essentially the world is going to end. The Earth's going to explode. It's going to get too hot. Everybody's going to die. But these aliens send these ships, and the ships hold like these bracelets that if you find a ship in the wild, you can put the bracelet on a child, and at a certain point in the future, the aliens are going to take the children with the bracelets and take them away from Earth as it dies. And it's a story about two kids trying to get to a pickup spot, if you will, and kind of their story getting there. Very fast-paced book. By issue 3, what you think is going to be a long, 6-issue arc of their journey, it just goes very quick. Main characters are here and then they're gone. The main purpose of the book changes. Some other like little small side stuff that you're like, oh, that's cute. Of course, that's like a regular what kids would think, makes it into a larger story in the end. It's a very quick book and a very original idea.
Yeah, very, very popular. That actually sounds fascinating. It's going to make a good
original
movie or two, right?
Totally.
Okay, We Live #1, October 2020, not too long ago. 143 blue label and 0 gold label 98. So people are definitely sending them in.
Yeah.
So it's Inaki Miranda art. Very, very good art, by the way. Yeah. It's about a $200 blue label 98, $60 raw. Okay. The Dustin Wen 1/15 variant cover, 85 blue label 9/8, 0 gold label 9/8. That's a $250 book.
Ooh, yeah.
These are pretty decent prices.
Yep. Small company.
Then Comic Mint had an exclusive cover by David Sanchez. There's 3 versions. You have the regular edition, which is limited to 400, 18 blue label, 0 gold label, 9.8. Those are $125. Then you have the Virgin edition, limited to 200. 24 blue label, 0 gold label, 9/8. Those are $150. And then you have the sketch edition. There's only 1 blue label, 0 gold labels. That's a $75 raw book and limited to only 150. So that's a very, very limited book. They made a lot of limited editions. Wait to hear some of these other ones. Then Peach Momoko did a cover for
our favorite,
one of my favorites. Yeah. For El Rey Comics. Also did 3 versions. Her variant cover, 1 blue label, 11 gold label, 9.8.
Wow.
That's about an $85 raw book. So the El Rey one is very, very popular. Then the Virgin edition, 5 blue label, 12 gold label, $175. Okay. That's in 9.8. Those still in 9.8. And then the sketch cover, 6 blue label, 0 gold label, 9.8. Those sell for about $350 in 9.8. So all 3 of these are very, 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 very valuable. Then Alpha Comics did 3 versions by Jorge Corona. This is a whole interesting ball of wax what they did here, Alex.
Yeah.
The regular variant cover, 4 blue label, 6 gold label 9.8. It's a $35 raw book, limited to 300. Then they did a Virgin edition, limited to 150, 6 blue label 9.8, 5 gold label 9.8, and that's about $100 raw. Then they made a Virgin metal edition, Alex.
Yep.
They limited it to 10. They sold them originally for $280. There's only one 9.8.
Oof.
Someone's asking $3,000. It's the only one I've seen for sale.
Makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, but going back to what we discussed with the metal edition, I think they're metal.
They're metal.
It's metal.
It's a flat piece of metal on the cover. Yeah. Glued to the book.
Right. So that was a kind of a clever idea.
Yeah.
They sold out of them because I went to their website. They did sell all 10. So that is interesting what happened with that book. So that's a cool one. That's going to be one of those holy grail type books, Alex.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Then there's the second print, which has a sort of a reddish tint to it. It's the same as the original cover. 9 blue label 9/8, 0 gold label 9/8. That's a $20 to $25 raw book. Then Trinity Comics did a second print version, 250, limited to 250, 24 blue label 9.8, 0 gold label 9.8. There's actually 9 two 9.9s.
Oh wow.
That's about a $400 book in
Ooh.
9.8. That's about $100 raw. As you know, the second prints,
Yes.
and then limited to 75, they did a metal cover, but this one they didn't limit to 10, they limited to 75.
Yep.
One blue label 9.8, 0 gold label 9.8. The blue label one is actually up for sale at $700 plus, obviously. And the print report, the pop report might be a little bit behind, and that's about a $200 raw book. I don't know what they originally sold them for. The other one that was limited to 10 was originally $280. This was limited to 75, so maybe they sold them at a slightly different price.
Yeah, probably.
Then there's
still hard and expensive. They're expensive to make to begin with. So
of course.
Yeah.
Then there's a third print which has a white logo, same as the original cover. 3 blue label 9.8s, 0 gold label 9.8s. That's about a $175 book, $25 raw. And then late June, so there's no pop on it yet. There are 4 versions of the cover that are going to be out. There's the blue cover. Again, instead of having the red tint, it has a blue tint. That comes out. They all come out in late June. Then there's the Chrissy Zulo cover, which is limited to 500.
Love her art.
Then there's the Stan Yak cover. Chrissy's been coming to our shows for 20-something years. Literally 20-something years.
Great.
She's like a real friend of the show. Her cover is limited to 500. Stan Yak is limited to 300, and the Stan Yak black and white is limited to 150.
That's crazy.
So we don't have any pricing on it yet, but it'll be out in late June. So go pick it up before they sell out, because then they're going to blow up like all the other ones.
Yes, they will.
All right, Alex, I think that does it for today. If you have any questions, comments, you want to leave us any messages, put us in the comments field. We enjoyed having this other talk with you this afternoon. We appreciate you all being here. And we will see everybody next week, same bat time.
Same bat channel. Thanks, guys.